Hello, my name is Richard-Addo-Kessie, and I'm here to introduce you to the MAP book program, which is the Mind Assistance Program, and it's a program that's built on universal laws and principles to help you discover the you within. What do I mean by the you within? We are living in this physical world, which we see, right? But there's a spiritual world that we are also in, and many of us are not paying attention to that, but that is our true essence. That is truly who we are, and tapping into our true being and our true self, has been long forgotten, and it's through programming. We've been programmed out of ourselves, and that's why we need the map book program to reprogram ourselves so that we go inside before we go outside, right? And by going inside, then you're actually discovering what it is that you want to be, what it is that you love. You get to actually determine everything from within and not from outside. There's so much outside chaos that's going on that it's making it seem like that's who we are and that's who our life is, but it is actually a false pretense because everything starts from our minds. And as we go in from our minds, we're projecting out, what we are visualizing and thinking about most of the time. All right. So the map book, it starts with the affirmatory declaration, right? The affirmatory declaration is pretty much what it says, right? So these are affirmations, but it's an affirmatory declaration style. So you're actually making a declaration on yourself, on your life. It's a declaration that is in the affirmative because this is what your ideal life looks like, right? It starts with, I am grateful and thank God, right? I am are two powerful words because after these two words, whether you realize it or not, you're actually declaring who you are. All throughout the day, you're saying, I am this and I am that, right? So as you're saying, I am, what are you putting after that? And the affirmatory declaration makes you conscious of this and make sure that it is in a positive sense, right? Because after that, we say grateful, because now we're going into our feelings, right? Because everything starts with a thought, and then our thoughts determine our feelings, right? And our feelings determine our actions, right? So it's very important that we feel grateful all the time, and we're full of gratitude all the time. Even if things look like they're not going your way, you have to look and say, okay, I'm still grateful that I got to even experience that. I'm so grateful that, I'm still out here and I can even try again, right? Put yourself in a sense of gratitude, because as you are in that feeling of gratitude, then you get to recognize what gratitude feels like, and more things in this world will come to you that will make you feel grateful, right? And thank God, right? We want to give thanks to the Most High. We want to give thanks to the Creator, because it is everything that is being done is done by the Creator, and the Creator lives in you. We all have this Christ consciousness within us that knows what we're supposed to do and who we're supposed to be, and giving us direction all the time. But it's clouded and we are not aware of it, and that's why this MapBook program is so important to get into the hands of many people so that we can discover who we are again, in humanity, right? And the affirmatory declaration is the big picture. So this is what you want your ideal life to look like. It does not have to be how it looks like right now. It's what you envision it to be. Your dream life. What does that look like? Go into detail. The more detail, the more better, right? Because the more detail that you have, the more you feel good, the more you feel about it, the more you're getting your emotions attached, right? And as your emotions are attached, then the more you're actually making everything in this world formulate so that you can get that result that you were envisioning in your affirmatory declaration, right? So starting off your affirmatory declaration, try to get at least a page written in, right? But go in for as long as you want, write up as many as you want in your affirmatory declaration, just until you feel satisfied, say, yeah, this is my ideal life. When you read it, you feel like you never left anything out, right? So that's the big picture, and why is that the big picture? Because it's all about mass. It's all about having big energy to draw from, right? Just liken it to our solar system, right? We have the sun, in our solar system that's has a gravitational pull and is pulling all the planets in, right? It's making sure everything stays in orbit. So the same thing with your affirmatory declaration, having a big, large goal. As we go to these other sections of the map book, then they're easier to put together. They're more believable because they're broken down from the affirmatory declaration, right? So the next session in the map book is the year, right? And in the year, we have it listed, right, to where there's check boxes, right? And the reason for this is because, number one, you're going to put in the year, right, that we're in, so right now we're going into 2026, right? So you're going to put in 2026 in the top, and then below that, you're going to write down all of the goals that you have for 2026, all right? And, we want these goals to be goals that that you could achieve, all right? And even if it may not be right there, maybe it's not 70 to 100%, maybe it's a 50% chance, maybe it's even a 30% chance, right? If you really are passionate about it and you really want it to happen, then write that down, okay? Write that down in your year section of the map book, all right? Because these goals, you're going to be reading this map book 2 times a day, right? And once you get through the initial part of setting it up, it only takes about 5 minutes for you to read the map book, right? But what you're doing is you're keeping your intentions with you and you have more clarity in your mind, right? So the year goals, write in your year goals. What are your year goals? All right. We talked about your affirmatory declaration. We talked about the big vision, right? So this year, what are things that you can do to get closer to that vision? Maybe some things in that vision you can get done this year, right? Just write them down and list them in your year section, right? And then throughout the year, once you complete the goal, you're going to check it off. That's what that check box is for. You're going to check it off, okay? And at the end of the year, you're going to see how many goals you've written to how many goals you've actually gotten to check off. And then you're going to score yourself on that, right? So be mindful with the goals that you do set for yourself, because obviously you want to score yourself good, right? But at the same time, there's no limits in the map book, right? So you could put in any goal that you have set. Okay, the next section in the map book is books read. Right? Why books read is in this program? Because, this is the mind assistance program, right? So we have to assist your mind to make sure that what you're feeling in your mind is good information, all right? Because there's so many things that are out there, so much chaos that's going out in this world, whether you're watching the news, whether you're on social media, whether you're just with peers, and they can be polluting your mind with stuff that you don't really want to take into your mind. So that's why we encourage reading books, right? And in this era right now, of course, there's podcasts, right? So listen to podcasts, listen to audiobooks, reading books, and just being in an atmosphere where your mental space is really great. And that's why we have this section. So what books are you going to read, right? And what podcasts are you going to listen to? I want you to list this in the books read section of your map book. The next section in the map book is Focus 11. All right. These are 11 aspects of life that you focus on to create wealth. All right. And these 11 aspects, are true wealth. And when I say wealth, I'm talking about well-being. I'm talking about the feeling that you feel that you're wealthy. Right. And of course, financial is in there as well, because you definitely want financial wealth too. Right. And the 11 aspects of the Focus 11 are mental, spiritual, physical, relationship, yourself, financial, contribution, new, business, learn, discipline, right? And as you have these 11 aspects, you're going to write a goal that is pertaining to each of these 11 aspects of life, right? And you're going to set a timeline, right? So in our map book, we have it every month. All right, so each month we have a new Focus 11. But the Focus 11 can really be done in a week. You can do the Focus 11 in a year, right? You could even have a specific deadline that you want to do. The main thing is that you're writing goals in on each of these aspects. So something that you're going to do to help your financial wealth, something that you're going to do to help your business wealth, something that you're going to do to grow your discipline wealth, right? Something that you're going to do to grow spiritually in wealth. Right? So all of these things, you're going to write a goal pertaining to each of these 11 aspects. And at the bottom of the Focus 11, there's a score of 11. You'll see the number 11 there because that's your score. So at the end of your time frame that you said that you're going to complete these goals, because as you go through, just like the year, you're going to check off those boxes, right? And you're going to score yourself out of 11. Okay, so if you get 6 or more check boxes out of 11, then you're going to reward yourself, right? And that's what the reward is down there. You want to fill out your reward and your duty at the same time you fill in your goals, right? Because then you got something to look forward to, right? And as you get 6 or more, you get your reward. 5 or less, you do your duty, all right? What your duty is something that you've been putting off for a long time, but you know it needs to get done, all right? And then from the Focus 11, yes, we're breaking it down again, and we're breaking it to your week, okay? So your week, there's 7 goals that you're gonna write for your week. They also have boxes there. These are check boxes. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna look at those monthly goals and you're gonna break them down, right, into weekly goals. And you're gonna break them down, right, into weekly goals. Make them more manageable, right, and more realistic for you to attain and accomplish, right? And as you go and you write down your weekly goals, you know, it's out of 7, right? So you're gonna score yourself out of 7, right? And then we have the Focus 11. Sorry, we have the Critical 7, right? And then we have the Critical 7, right? And the Critical 7 are 7 things that you do each day to create wealth, all right? And these are the steps, right? These are the little steps that you're taking that's getting you towards the big vision, towards your affirmatory declaration, right? That's the big goal. That's your ideal life. So now that we're seeing that's the mass, now we're going back into the day and we're taking the steps, which is the day. Then we get to each landing, which is the week, right? You get to each floor, right? Which is the month, right? And then we get to the year, right? Which is the top of the building, right? And then your affirmatory declaration is the view. You know, you're looking around, you see the view, you see the big picture, you know, and you've accomplished it, right? And this is the setup of the map book. This is infused in universal laws and principles, you know, that have been here before us. They'll be here after us, right? And that's why this program will always be relevant. This program and the principles within it will always be current, right? They are present, and this is a present from the Create Wealth Network, from me, which is channeled through God for you, right? And I'm here to give it to you. We have a mind map session that we're doing. 2026 is approaching, and we want everyone to get involved, or at least, you know, go through the mind map session, which is free, right? And we can help you map out some of your goals for the new year, you know, and apply some of these principles in accomplishing them. But if you want to enroll in the program, we'd love for you to be on board. You could join our community, right? And we're going to hold you accountable, you know, so it's an accountability program as well to make sure that you're plugged in every day, you know, into achieving your goals. You know, so if you're looking for someone to kind of push you along and help you and assist you to make sure you accomplish your goal, then this is the community that you want to be in. You know, so thank you for listening to this message. I look forward to building with you in 2026. Keep creating. God bless.